This is a moment of decision, an inner battle for sobriety. For those dependent upon alcohol, existence is controlled by an overpowering urge to drink. One out of every 14 adults in this community has a serious drinking problem. 75,000 area citizens are addicted to alcohol. Who are the alcoholics in our community? Several thousand call no place home. They are found in Skid Row, where living and survival are synonymous. They drink in public. Privacy is an unknown luxury. The broken men of Skid Row are the visible alcoholics in our society, but they account for only 8% of the city's alcoholics. Another 8% are at the top of the ladder. Alcoholism attacks the wealthy and the educated too. These are the hidden drinkers, protected by financial security and shielded by their family's shame. Where are the vast majority of alcoholics? Most, over 75%, are average citizens, members of the great middle class. The man next door who disappears for weeks at a time. The neighbor who draws her blinds and won't answer the phone. Alcoholism is no respecter of neighborhoods, of income, of education. It knows no prejudices. It knocks on any door.
Stop drinking? Someone might as well tell me to stop breathing.
When I'm drinking, I don't care about my husband, my children. The only thing that matters is the bottle.
It's not a matter of drinking because you want to. You drink because you have to.
No door is locked to alcoholism. To all, it brings the same bitter cup, the same compelling thirst. Alcoholism has reached epidemic proportions in our midst. Today, 75,000 people in metropolitan St. Louis are its victims, and 2,000 new cases develop here a year. For every 100 people you know, statistically, 6 of them are alcoholic. And every 9th St. Louisan has an addicted husband, wife, brother, sister, father, or mother. Alcoholism is a subject that has been whispered about. Tabooed in polite conversation, it has been shrouded with myth and misconception. What is the nature of alcoholism, and how does it affect us?
Alcoholism is a disease. It is a disease, you might say, of the mind and the body, a disease where the mental faculties are affected as well as the physical. It's recognized as this by the American Medical Association, by the American Psychiatric Association, and even by the World Health Organization. An alcoholic is an individual who is a compulsive drinker. One drink leads to another, and this individual cannot stop drinking without help.
We in Alcoholics Anonymous, or AA, know that once a person develops the illness of alcoholism, he or she has it for the rest of his life. The alcoholic has 2 choices. He can stop drinking, totally abstain and arrest the disease, or he can continue his life as a practicing alcoholic, a living hell that affects the body, the mind, and the spirit.
At the St. Louis headquarters of Alcoholics Anonymous, several members told us of their experiences.
I'm told that alcohol had a complete Jekyll and Hyde effect on my personality. From a normally cheerful person, I became antagonistic, belligerent, depressed. I became a very unhappy woman.
I think that I felt my personality change more so than the young ladies. I could feel the personality change take place within myself in the final stages of drinking. I knew that I was becoming something abnormal.
Can you think of a specific instance of a personality change?
Oh, I guess in my case, the most dramatic instance would have been you might say, suicide attempt. Certainly it appeared to be that. I took an overdose of pills after many, many hours of heavy drinking in which my self-hatred and self-disgust and feeling of worthlessness grew to such proportions that this seemed to be the only thing to do. However, it was a terribly selfish thing to do that I would only have been doing or have thought of doing after having had many, many, many drinks.
An alcoholic is a person who must totally abstain from alcohol or drink to excess. There is no middle of the road for the alcoholic as far as alcohol is concerned. The non-alcoholic may get drunk, but does so from choice. The disease of alcoholism compels the alcoholic to drink. This chart shows the preliminary and primary and chronic stages of an alcoholic. Begins perhaps with occasional relief drinking, and then moves on to onset of memory blackouts where the individual drinking does not remember what happened. And then moves to an increased dependence on alcohol, and then down here where there's a decrease of ability to stop drinking when others do so, and efforts to control fail repeatedly. If you are encountering any of these in your drinking, you had better examine your drinking habits.
Many children of alcoholics have indicated to us researchers that the effects of alcoholism on the family unit are extensive. The children, especially the sons, are hard hit if their father is an alcoholic. They lose the powerful support of him as an identification figure. But probably overriding all of this is the fact that the communication among the family members just breaks completely apart and the family is torn asunder.
Most of the time my children were left to fend for themselves, the older ones taking care of the younger ones. After a few instances of the smaller ones waking up in the morning dressed in the same play clothes they wore the day before, the older children started taking over my responsibility, doing the job of a mother for me. All I wanted was for everyone to go away and leave me alone.
Well, I think a tremendous burden fell upon my wife. She was the one who had to manage the household. She was the one who had to take care of the bills and financial problems that I got myself into while drinking. She certainly was the one who had to explain to friends and employers as to why I was acting like I was, this type of thing.
The victims of alcoholism are not only the alcoholic and his family, but the entire community. St. Louis Metropolitan Business and Industry employs 45,000 alcoholics, about the same number of people who make up the population of University City. They swarm into the city to work as company presidents, stockbrokers, factory hands, clerks, doctors, secretaries. Alcoholic workers are found in every type of job. They cost our economic community $30 million loss a year.
This loss comes about through absenteeism, indecision, the various events that an alcoholic may go through on the job. The executive may come on the job as a half man. The supervised personnel will stay home, causing a high rate of absenteeism. In either case, the job, whether the alcoholic drinks on the job or whether he does not, the job is always secondary.
I think my job suffered to a degree where it was called to my attention a couple of times by my employer. I certainly feel that the output, the capacity that I could have had for my job could have been much greater. I can see no reason why I shouldn't have been fired many, many times from my drinking.
Not all alcoholics are employed by business and industry. Many work at the job of running a home.
We alcoholic housewives are hidden drinkers, protected by our homes and our husbands and inadvertently by our children. We can get away with this for a longer time. It's easy to cover up. It's easy to blame the neglect on other things, fatigue, the children, that sort of thing. I think
Alcoholism's toll in human misery cannot be measured, but many of its effects are measurable in ugly statistics. 5 out of every 10 people involved in fatal automobile accidents have demonstrable amounts of alcohol in their blood. The death rate of alcoholics is 2.5 times greater than that of normal drinkers. The accident rate of alcoholics in industry is double that of abstainers. 1 out of every 3 patients in the nation's mental hospitals is an alcoholic. 1/4 of all suicides are alcoholics. Alcoholism ranks after heart disease and mental illness as the nation's major disabler and killer. Alcoholism's effects fester the core of our society. What are we doing about it?
Shockingly little in this country. Historically and even today, American alcoholics are punished, scorned, pushed aside, ignored, thrown in the jail cells. For example, last year about 2 million Americans were arrested for public intoxication, basically for exhibiting the symptoms of their disease. Furthermore, about 1/3 of those who serve in the short-term correctional institutions are there for alcohol-related offenses. Unfortunately, most of us in America still consider that alcoholism is a crime. Most American cities are handling the problem of alcoholism as we did the problem of mental illness about a century ago. The snake pits of the mental hospitals have been replaced by the drunk tanks found in American jails all throughout this country.
This is the drunk tank of the city of St. Louis. It's becoming a relic of the past.
The drunk tank here was a great improvement in 1963 over what the department had previously by taking people that were drunk on the street to the city hospital and having them treated was a step forward. However, the present system of taking public alcoholics directly to the detoxification center is a major step in this entire field. The St. Louis Police Department, I'm happy to say, is the originator and the sponsor of the only public detoxification center in the entire world.
The St. Louis Detoxification Center is located in St. Mary's Infirmary on Pepin Street. It operates under a federal grant awarded to the St. Louis Police Department. Now, citizens picked up for public drunkenness are not arrested, but brought to the Detox Center for treatment. This is the first humane treatment many public inebriates have ever received. The usual stay at the Detox Center is 7 days. The first order of business is a preliminary medical exam, an evaluation of the patient's physical condition. Newly arrived patients are usually classified as acute cases and placed in the intensive care section for careful observation.
Continue improving. Our patients always do. You know, alcoholism is not a difficult disease to treat. Most of these people, when they start drinking, stop eating. So one of the things we must treat, of course, is their malnutrition. We give him medication to calm down his nervous, tense situation in the beginning, and as he improves, he is then moved out of our intensive care division into our general self-care division. This usually occurs in about 1 to 2 days.
Hi, Art. How are you?
Fine. How are you, Miss Ruth?
You look like you're feeling a little bit better than the first time.
An investigation of his drinking background is important in planning his treatment and rehabilitation.
Discuss it while you're here. So let's start out. How old were you, Art, when you took your first drink?
Well, I was approximately 7 or 8 years old because my dad always had homebrew around the house, and it was just one of those things. We just drank.
How old were you when you were first intoxicated or got drunk? Can you remember?
Well, in my early teens, Miss Root, I was about 14 or 15, I guess, when I first remember getting drunk.
How old were you when you had your first blackout?
I guess around 30.
Mm-hmm.
When they first started, these blackouts were just a few hours at a time I would lose. But as this thing progressed with me, I would lose days.
How about DTs and hallucinations? How old were you when or have you ever had DTs?
Not DTs.
Have you had hallucinations?
Yes, hallucinations,
What sort of hallucinations have you had?
Well, where I see and hear things that aren't there.
But you know where you are when this is occurring. Would it be in your room?
Sometimes in a hotel room I've had.
Do you recall perhaps the one that was the most difficult for you?
I got a hotel room one time with the idea of sobering up, and I'd been in it 2, possibly 3 days, and I thought I had it pretty well licked. And I went to bed that night, and seemed like all of a sudden on the walls I could see a hazy smoke, and then I'd see these green rat faces and parts of snakes, and mutilated bodies of people. It was just a terrifying experience. And I'd also hear this voice, a man that keep calling me to come out of the bed, that he wanted to kill me, that I shouldn't be living. And it was so real that I actually thought it was all happening, and it terrified me so bad that I just got up and run out in the hall looking for a bellhop, looking for somebody that I could get to help me to get these things out of the room, you know.
You were so frightened you just ran for help.
I was scared to death.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is a horrible experience. Thank you. Art, do you think you're an alcoholic?
Yes, I believe I'm definitely an alcoholic.
Why?
Because I've come to the point in my life where I no longer can control drinking.
And when you say that, this means that once you start drinking, you've got to continue, and you can't stop.
That's exactly right,
I
Miss Ruth.
see. I'll tell you what.
At the Detox Center, participation in group therapy provides the patient with an open forum for discussing his problems with other alcoholics.
I'd like to ask you fellows a question today to see just what you think about it. Supposing you were going out on a job interview, trying to get a job, would you tell your prospective employer that you were alcoholic?
I would. I found it worked for me.
In other words, they knew it, and
it helped me.
It did help you.
It did help me.
Everybody agree with him?
I disagree.
No,
No, sir, I don't.
You don't.
No, sir.
Why?
Because if you told him you were an alcoholic, you would have that label regardless if you stayed sober.
What about that?
Personally, I wouldn't tell a man that I was an alcoholic because most people don't understand what an alcoholic is. They don't savvy, they don't trust him. They'll tolerate a thief before they will a drunkard.
Most applications that I have filled out recently and have the question, are you an alcoholic? Are you a moderate drinker, a social drinker, or a heavy drinker? You have to circle one of them. Naturally, I circled a social drinker, and it didn't work.
And this didn't worry you because you said this, because you lied? This didn't worry you at all?
Yes, it worried me because I know as long as I've been drinking, eventually something would get in the way to where I would think I'd have to have that bottle, and they were going to find it out anyway. But by telling my former employer the truth, he not only gave me the job, but he also tried to help me and assist me in trying to keep myself sober. So I think it would be better to be honest with him as well as being honest with ourselves.
I think this is the important thing, Herman. When you're honest with this employer, you're first honest with yourself. And the one big thing that it takes for an alcoholic to stay dry is complete and total self-honesty. And I think this is what you have to work on.
Well, let's get back to this job.
The results of the Detox Center are amazing. Since it opened on November 18th, 1966, there have been 548 admissions. When interviewed 3 to 4 months after discharge, over 1/2 of these patients showed marked improvement in their drinking habits, and 21% were abstaining. 56% improved their general health. St. Louis Detox Center has become a national model for the intelligent treatment and the humane rehabilitation of the police case inebriate. Only 1 out of 10 alcoholics ever becomes involved with the police. Most suffer in secrecy, shielded by family and friends. Where can these people go for help? There's a 30-bed center for alcoholic treatment and outpatient facilities at Malcolm Bliss Hospital, limited facilities in a few private hospitals, and a handful of doctors, psychiatrists, and social workers who seek alcoholics as patients. Totally inadequate facilities in our community. The most outstanding record of helping alcoholics belongs to a faceless, unidentified group of dedicated men and women. Alcoholics Anonymous has helped 3,500 area alcoholics to sobriety.
Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength, and hope with each other. They may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. It is a simple program for complicated people. It's based on complete self-honesty. The alcoholic admitting he's powerless over alcohol and then trying to stay sober one day at a time with the help of other alcoholics who have the same problems and talk his language. There is no cure for alcoholism, but it can be arrested. AA has a 75% batting average. 50% of those who contact us go sailing straight through the program. 25% have slips or relapses, and 25% don't make it. Most of these come in under duress, family-wise or job-wise. AA members are from every walk of life, for alcoholism is no respecter of persons.
$300,000 people in this community feel the effects of alcoholism each day. Either they are alcoholic or a member of their family is. Motivating them to seek help is an enormous stumbling block in overcoming the disease. A clearinghouse for information on alcoholism was created in June of '65. It is the Greater St. Louis Council of Alcoholism, now located at 1210 Locust Street.
The main concern of the council is the control and prevention of alcoholism. We do live in an alcoholic culture, and many people are hurt through the disease of alcoholism. The council today is receiving some 500 phone calls per month, cries of help from families that need help. Many spouses of the alcoholics come to the council for help.
There's a little drinking problem in your family.
Yes, that's right.
The one who has the problem is your husband.
Right.
Now, does he get drunk, very drunk at times? In other words, where he's practically out of commission?
Yes, he does, a great many times.
And would you say that he drinks every day?
Yes, he drinks every day.
And when he's drinking, is he more inclined to drink socially with others, or is he more apt to sneak drinks, drink alone, that sort of thing?
He drinks alone and he sneaks drinks. He's usually sick in the morning until he can get the first drink. And I've found bottles hidden in the bathroom or the coal bin, any place where he thinks I won't find them.
Do you feel that your husband still loves you?
No, I don't think he really does. I think all he really cares about is whiskey.
And how about his relationship with the children? Does he get along with them? Does he seem to love them?
No, his relationship with the children is terrible. He hollers at them all the time, and I really think that they hate him.
Among all these various problems that you've described, what would you say is the biggest problem affecting your marriage at the present time?
Well, of course, his drinking would be the biggest problem, and then just trying to live like everybody else does, a normal life. We never go out any place. I never get to buy any new clothes. We never have any extra money. The children never get to bring their friends home because they're afraid their father will always be drunk, and I just don't know what to do for him anymore and how to help him. It's just terrible to live this way.
Our advice to the spouses of alcoholics may seem harsh and cruel, such as if you find the bottle, place it in front of him and let him know that you know he's drinking and hiding bottles. If he collapses in the living room, let him lie. This is anti to most of our charitable help for people with disease, but we must remember that it is effective and motivates the alcoholic into sobriety, and above all, the alcoholic's life is at stake.
In the St. Louis area, 75,000 lives are at stake. What are we doing about it?
Far too little. For instance, what about my fellow physicians? What are they doing? Recently, I had breakfast with one of my fellow physicians, and he said to me, "I never treat alcoholics. I send them to you." And what about our hospitals? You know, there are many patients in hospitals being treated for alcoholism. But unfortunately, these people are being treated for alcoholism, but on the record, the diagnosis is something other than this. Let's bring it out into the open.
The establishment of the detoxification center here and the fact that it is working very successfully strongly indicates and recommends this program to all major cities of the United States and really the entire world. We hope that Congress will foster this program in all major cities at the earliest possible time.
We need increasing financial support for this problem, particularly at the federal level where it has been negligible. The state and municipal governments have been asked to carry this burden almost alone for years.
We as a community are under obligation to set up a sensible program of rehabilitation for the alcoholic. All organizations, social, professional, service organizations, management and labor should join together in this program. The alcoholic deserves your help, not your ostracism. We must give the alcoholic and his family hope for a better life. There is hope.
There is hope for the 75,000 alcoholics in our community who live with the mental anguish of alcoholism. There is hope for the families of the alcoholics, a promise of a better life. The battle against alcoholism must be won. The compelling thirst can be quenched.